What's going on, Broncos fans? Today's video is all about some Nathaniel Hackett coordinator rumors, who the next OC or DC may be for the Broncos. Plus, we'll check out some quarterback trade buzz going out there. Maybe the Broncos are going to make a huge blockbuster trade for Aaron Rodgers, or could it be Kirk Cousins? So, with that being said, to start the show, I want you guys to go ahead and pick a quarterback. Let me know what quarterback you would like to see the Broncos go out and get after this offseason. Spam your answers in the comment section below while the intro video rolls. Today's Broncos Breakdown is presented to you by the Fetch Rewards app, where you can earn points on any receipt from any store or restaurant and then redeem those points for gift cards and other sweet rewards they have. Check them out, chatsports.com/fetch. Make sure you use that promo code Broncos to get 3,000 bonus points. All right, let's get into today's show, which is all about the latest Broncos news and rumors, and specifically on the coaching carousel. We got the head coach, we got Hackett. Now it's about who his staff is going to look like, who's he going to hire at the offense and defensive coordinator roles, and could one of those hires influence who the next quarterback is in Denver? Well, Mike Klis tweeted this out, which kind of stirred up some trade controversy, or some trade buzz, we'll say. Per source, Broncos are planning to interview former Broncos offensive assistant / current Vikings offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak for an offensive coaching position. It's a new generation of the West Coast offense. Paul Hackett to Nathaniel, father-son duo, and Gary Kubiak to Klint. So, of course, Gary Kubiak here for the Super Bowl win back in 2015. Klint working underneath him, and now the current Vikings offensive coordinator. But the Vikings are in the midst of cleaning house. They fired their GM and their head coach a couple weeks ago, and whoever the next head coach is may not want to retain Klint Kubiak as his OC. Pretty common for teams and new head coaches to want to bring in new faces, which kind of makes you wonder, would a Klint Kubiak move to Denver be a huge sign that the Broncos want to go out and trade for Kirk Cousins? Of course, the Hackett connection to Rodgers is very obvious, but now Minnesota's in the mix too, it looks like. I don't know, it's like the entire NFC North feels like it's just moving to Denver, minus the Bears and Lions. But, you know, Paton was in Minnesota from 2007 to 2020. He rose his way nearly all the way to the top, and the connection's there. And for all we know, Paton wants to bring Kirk Cousins along because he loved him in Minnesota, and now he wants to bring his crush to Denver. However, there are some hoops to jump through. So Kirk Cousins is not a cheap pony. He carries a $35 million cap hit if he gets traded. That's a ton of money for a team to take on for a quarterback that is controversial, right, of what he is as a quarterback in the NFL. 2022 is the final year of his deal, so how many teams out there really want to trade for a lame duck quarterback? They only have 1 year left on their contract, and then they got to pay him his next big contract. And then, like I said, the overlap between those two from when Cousins arrived in Minnesota before Paton left, 2018 to 2020. I said this before, if you guys watched the Broncos Breakdown, I don't think Kirk Cousins is as bad as advertised. I think he gets a much worse rap than he really deserves. His biggest knock has always just been winning games, and that's fair for Vikings fans. Like, you paid him over $100 million, and he hasn't won enough games to be that big of a contract. But his numbers just a blind test right there. I bet you would not bet Kirk Cousins if you put up his stats next to a handful of other great quarterbacks. Hopefully in Denver, he can take what he learned in Minnesota about getting over that primetime hump and finding a way to come in through the clutch and win those big games on Sunday night and Monday Night Football at Mile High. Here's my mock trade for Kirk Cousins coming to the Denver Broncos. I've got the Broncos receiving Kirk Cousins and a 2022 fifth-round pick because you're taking on a $35 million cap hit. Yeah, you got to sweeten the pot a little bit. Meanwhile, the Vikings received Drew Lock just to kind of give them some sort of start at quarterback. And then both the Broncos' 2022 second-round picks. Remember, one of those is the Rams, which is either the last pick in the second round or the second to last pick in the second round. And then the 2023 third-round pick as well. I don't have Denver giving up a first. A lot of the beat reporters in Minnesota think he's worth a first. Maybe. but he's not worth the top 10 first. Maybe a back 10 first, but I would not give up a number 9 overall pick for Kirk Cousins. I think 2 seconds, a third makes sense. But I'll let you guys be the GM here. Would you do this trade for Cousins? Let me know what you think. Give me an A for accept or a D for decline. I'm expecting to see a lot of declines, and I understand it to a little bit because it's Kirk Cousins, and you'd feel stupid if you gave up a bunch of picks for a guy you already know who he is. But I do think Kirk Cousins is better than advertised, and I would not be opposed to an idea of trading for Cousins if you can't get Rodgers or Wilson and you don't want to draft someone. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, we're going to talk about the latest trade rumors involving him coming out of the press conference for Nathaniel Hackett. And, of course, Rodgers kind of got brought up, and so we'll look at some quotes there. But before we get to that, I want to tell you guys more about the Fetch Rewards app. I love this app because it's super easy and simple to use. You earn points on any receipt from any store or restaurant and then redeem those points for gift cards and other rewards. I've already shopped. I already eat too much and spend too much on food anyway. How about you just scan those receipts and earn points on them? Here's a great video to show you how it's done. You just open the app, and it's super easy, simple, and free, best of all, to use. All you do is just scan your receipts, and then you're going to get points for them. Now, scenario. What kind of bear is best? Well, what if a receipt comes from a mom and pop shop, and you like shopping at your favorite local breakfast diner? Not an issue for the Fetch Rewards app. Even if the app doesn't recognize what the store is, you just got to enter the information in yourself, and boom, you're getting points. So make sure you go to chatsports.com/fetch. When you use the promo code Broncos, you get 3,000 bonus points, and you can turn those bonus points into gift cards and other rewards. Super easy to use, super free, super simple. Go to chatsports.com/fetch and make sure you check them out with the promo code Broncos. I'll have all that information in the comments of the video. It's also really high up in the description, like in the first paragraph, so you can't miss it. Check them out, Fetch Rewards. Paton was I was thinking of like George Paton, the U.S. Army Sergeant General. George Paton was asked about the latest Aaron Rodgers trade rumors flat out in the press conference, and he was pretty blunt about it. Here's what he said. Before I answer that, my family showed up late, and I believe this is their first time they've been in the UCHealth Training Center. So I want to introduce my wife, Barb, in the back, my beautiful daughter, Bella, and my handsome son, Beau. Welcome to UCHealth. I think this is the first time you guys have been here because of COVID-19, and absolutely not. Thanks for asking. What a long-winded response to go, no, we did not hire Nathaniel Hackett because of the idea of getting Aaron Rodgers in a trade. On the other side, what's he supposed to say? One, that's tampering. You can't just come out and say that. That's not allowed. Two, you just hired a guy. You're going to sit right next to him at his introductory press conference and go, I'm glad you asked that, actually. You're right. We don't really like Hackett at all. We just wanted to use him to get Rodgers. Thanks for the question. Who's next? That would never happen. So what did you expect him to say? Whether it's true or not, you can't really draw much from that answer. I think it had to have played some kind of role. I don't think Nathaniel Hackett's resume purely by itself is something you'd usually see get hired as a head coach. Now, I think Hackett is going to be a great head coach for the Broncos. He's going to be very innovative on offense, and he has a lot of people backing him, including Rodgers. But I do think the trade had to have weighed some factor. 1%, 10%, I'm not really sure, but it played a factor. We'll look at some other quotes from the press conference in just a moment. But if you are looking for Broncos off-season coverage, like the latest news rumors, quarterback trade rumors, then you have found the right channel. Subscribe to the Broncos Breakdown. Hit that big red button if you have not already. And as always, if you have already subscribed, we appreciate you being a part of the family. We love talking about the Broncos news and rumors here on the channel, so hit that big red button and subscribe. Let's look at some other quotes. Nathaniel Hackett, his press conference, had this kind of juicy-ish quote talking about Aaron Rodgers. So he said, first and foremost, Aaron was absolutely unbelievable. He's been one of my biggest supporters, and I love him. I'm very thankful very much for him. Coaching a man like that, the one thing I learned is you better have an answer for every question because he's going to ask every single question about every single thing that you're going to do. I think that was something that was very valuable for me. The thing with Rodgers that people are really getting cold on is the last couple years in the playoffs. I would ignore the playoff letdowns. Not like meaning completely turn a blind eye to it, but a lot of quarterbacks had poor-ish exits from Team A and just kind of rejuvenated on Team B. I mean, for example, we'll talk about it in a moment, but Matthew Stafford and the Rams, all right? So just I wouldn't be too hard on the idea of trading for Rodgers because of the last 2-3 playoff years of losing in the playoffs, coming up short. Some of it's on Rodgers, some of it's not, but he's still a Hall of Fame quarterback and a almost 4-time MVP. The only issue I have with trading for Aaron Rodgers is the timeline. You're trading for a 38-year-old quarterback. And remember, the Broncos got Peyton Manning when he was 36, so it's similar, but 2 years actually can mean a lot. And how much longer does he want to play? I just worry if you trade for Rodgers and things don't go, right according to plan immediately, and the Broncos go 10-7 and win one playoff game but lose their second playoff game. He's like, you know what? I wasn't even all that sold on coming here. I'm just going to hang it up. That's my only concern with an idea of trading for Rodgers is purely the timeline. What do you think, though? I want you guys to have a voice in this conversation. Do you want Denver to go out and trade for Rodgers? If you do, give me a Y for yes, and if you don't, give me an N for no. I think Aaron Rodgers is better than Drew Lock, and I cannot believe I have to say that, but I think it is worth a lot of draft capital to land a MVP quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, even if it's only for 4 to 5 years. And we know how, when that Peyton Manning left, how bad it was afterwards. You don't want to go back in that same cycle. But you did get Peyton Manning got us a Super Bowl. So trust that process that we can get a Super Bowl and then do better on the rebound the next time. Also, just look at the Super Bowl matchup this year. You got the Rams, who have not had a first-round pick since Jared Goff in 2016. They clearly have shown that there's a path to succeeding in the NFL without using first-round draft capital. So if you're concerned about giving up 3 first-round picks for him, the Rams have no problem trading for proven talent, and it has shown that it can work very well. And then on the flip side, you got the Bengals, who didn't trade any first-round talent, but they also had a first overall pick to get Joe Burrow. So I think this year's Super Bowl shows 2 very different paths to get to the Super Bowl. Have a first overall pick when there's a stud quarterback coming into the NFL, which the Broncos do not have, and there's not a stud quarterback coming into the NFL, or trade away a bunch of draft capital to get a stud quarterback, well, an improvement at least in Matthew Stafford, and the Broncos are able to do that. So I think both teams have shown you can go either route and still get to the same place at the end. We'll find out in a couple weeks which one actually results in winning a Super Bowl. Back to some coordinator stuff here, some latest buzz on who the next, speaking of the Rams, who the next DC may be in Denver. Ejiro Evero, the secondary coach for the Rams, appears to be the front runner for the defensive coordinating gig. He cannot interview with the Broncos' Nathaniel Hackett until after the Super Bowl is over, so the Broncos will have to wait. So you probably, if he's their number one guy, you won't see a hire for a little bit now. And, of course, the connection between the two of them is that they overlapped at UC Davis back in 2005. Some other coordinator stuff to talk about here. Brent Axe, he tweeted this out. Former Syracuse football and Buffalo Bills head coach Doug Marrone on the move again. Looks like he got an NFL job. His old buddy Nate Hackett is in Denver, maybe the Giants. 2 things. 1, I've never seen anyone called Nathaniel Nate, and I don't know if Brent and Nate are buddy-buddy, but you can't just come out and short name him like that unless you know he goes by Nate. And as far as I can tell, he's a Nathaniel guy, so full name him Brent. Second thing is Doug Marrone was the offensive line coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and now Bama's looking for a new O-line coach, which makes you wonder, are they moving on from Marrone? More like Marrone's moving on from Alabama. Here's what's kind of funny. Doug Marrone was the head coach in Buffalo and in Jacksonville with Nathaniel Hackett along with Syracuse beforehand. Doug Marrone fired Nathaniel Hackett in Jacksonville in 2018, midway through the year. So I would just love to know what that maybe they had a mutual parting ways, but how often in life do you get to hire your old boss to work for you? And not only any old boss, a boss who fired you. Like, that's got to be interesting. I don't know if Hackett's just like, I want to hire him and torment him for firing me. Probably not. It's the NFL. These are big boys, and they know it's a league, not personal. But I think that's worth checking out. All right, we'll end the video on this note. Make sure you subscribe to the Broncos Breakdown here on YouTube, and we will catch you guys later with the latest Broncos news and rumors all off season long.